Welcome to Astrodology, the podcast that brings you knowledge, wisdom, and principles that can help you find the peace and comfort we all seek and deserve in our lives. Welcome, friends. Thank you for tuning in to another edition of Astrodology with Astrid. Oh my goodness. Today I'm going to talk about a topic that will eventually lead us through the road of manifestation. You know, manifestation is a big, powerful play word that is just gained so much speed and attention because there's so much suffering that's happening in life right now, particularly financially. Here we are in November 2023, and it's been a doozy of a year, and a lot of people just have not recovered from the effects of 2020. Here we are 3 years later. So manifestation, one of the things that all the different opinions and processes agree on is that it's a mindset and a mind shift. So I thought in order to make your mind be in the space of allowing in clarity as abundance, or as Abraham Hicks speaks to, you have to know the how of how the mind works. It's easy to say, oh, clear your mind. Don't let your mind wander off. These are all just broad statements, but what is the how behind all of that stuff? So I want to talk about the mind and how the mind actually on a visceral physical level works. And maybe this will provide clarity on how we can do these simplistic things that they tell us to do. Just shut down your mind, quiet your mind. It's not so simple. I apologize because I do not know the source of this material. This material I do not own, but it's part of research that I gathered probably about 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, and it's called How the Mind Works. So every time you have a thought, a synapsis is fired in your brain. The frequency of that electrical impulse signals a hormonal release which communicates to your body whether that thought is a happy thought or a distressed thought. This flood of hormones is the natural way your brain communicates with your body in a visceral way, and how it feels about any given moment or situation in your life. And it is also that feeling that compels you to proceed forward or causes you to recede in relation to that person or that situation. So this is saying that there is constant communication between the mind and body. So one of the key yoga principles is, yoga means to yoke together the body, the mind, and the spirit. So the brain moves to a synapsis, moves to hormones, moves to the body, moves to action, moves to a process of fight, flight, rest, or digest. And this happens at lightning speed. I mean, before you can even, as you're having the thought, this process is just moving. An automatic function that was created to help benefit us. But somewhere along the way, we interfere with this inherent natural system that has transformed us from having it be a gift into a curse. So in other words, we keep pausing and it's almost like the record being scratched, and you keep scratching the album as the album's trying to play the music. You keep introducing scratches to it so you don't get a smooth recording. Rather than this system saving our lives, it's become a way to rob the majority of us the ability to create. And another word in creating is to live. Because when people have sadness or disappointment or feel like they cannot manifest, it is because they're not truly living. And so we're not living according to our highest possible frequency, because everything in life is a form of energy, and everything in life carries a particular frequency. So It happens that so often when we become faced with challenges in our life, due mostly to the rules of a polite society, we ignore our body's natural parasympathetic GPS system. So the nervous system has this built-in GPS. It has a mapping system. And if we listen to it and pay attention to it, it will serve us. We don't flight when our parasympathetic nervous system tells us to run away. We don't fight back when oppressed. We don't even rest when our body desperately asks us for a break. This is only a problem because when we repress these basic survival urges, the hormones that our brain floods into our body to deal with the situation at hand will keep flooding the system, and eventually this flooding causes abnormality in the cells and a buildup of plaque. Plaque we know because it forms around the teeth. That's the main one. But plaque forms in the body, and this is a defense mechanism that the body creates to try to stop some of the craziness. Plaque is only problematic when it builds to unhealthy proportions, acting as a barrier to proper digestion, nutrient absorption, blood circulation, water absorption, and the list can go on and on. One of the areas of plaque that we are very familiar with is plaque in the heart, which leads to heart disease, which I believe heart disease is still the number one killer of men and women. What's more is our entire system is now overusing the energy that would be habituated to our autonomic functions like the beating of our heart and breath to deal with our devitalized organs. Then, because of the behavioral conflict that continues to ensue from our judgments about appropriate behavior depending on our socialization, we don't excrete the appropriate responses, and all the nervous tension that was built up turns itself inward as a constant stress until we somehow find an outlet. All of this repression depletes our life force and lowers our vibration. Remember, everything is a form of energy and vibration. Then we start dealing with new situations, but then we use old stress responses rather than evaluating things with a present mind. This is how we can have a desire to improve our lives and simultaneously continue to make choices that are, just against our basic human needs and energy. Energy is everything. And I know I use that word a lot, but energy is our life's circuitry. Without it, you feel it. You feel when your energy is down. You feel when your energy is high. Now let's move on to a thought that I love from the book called The Game of Life and How to Play It from Frances Scovel Shinn. In her first chapter, she talks about, her work was all about manifestation and creating abundance. And this is chapter 1, and I thought these concepts really tied in brilliantly about mindset and the power of our thoughts. Most people consider life a battle, but it is not a battle, it is a game. It is a game that cannot be played successfully without the knowledge of spiritual law. The Old and the New Testament give the clarity. If you give love, you will receive love. If you give hate, you will receive hate. If you give criticism, you will receive criticism. If you lie, you will be lied to. If you cheat, you will be cheated on. What man imagines sooner or later materializes in his affairs. We must train the imagining faculty. A person trained with an imagining faculty to see only good brings into his life every righteous desire of his heart. Health, wealth, love, friends, purpose, perfect self-expression, and its highest ideals. Imagination has been called the scissors of the mind, and it is ever cutting day by day the pictures man sees there And sooner or later, he meets his own creations in his outer world. To train the imagination successfully, man must understand the workings of his mind. The Greeks said, "Know thyself." There are three departments of the mind. Number one is conscious, mortal or carnal mind, and sees life as it appears to be seen. See death, disaster, and poverty and limitation of every kind, and impresses the subconscious. The subconscious, number two, power without direction, like steam or electricity, and it does what it is. Superconscious, the God mind within each man, is the realm of perfect ideas. It is in the perfect pattern spoken of by Plato. For there are a divine design for each person, for there is a place that you are to fill, something that you are to do that no one else can do. There is a perfect picture of this that flashes across the superconscious mind as an unattainable idea or even too good to be true. It is flashed from the infinite intelligence that is within himself. Many people are ignorant of their true destinies and are striving towards things and situations that do not belong to them, and they only bring failure and dissatisfaction if they attain them. There is always plenty on man's path, but it can only be brought to life through desire, passion, and faith. So what I love about Francis Scoville Shen's work is that faith is a driving force of it. And connecting, the crown chakra in the body, the top of the head, is related to consciousness, to faith, to angels, to source. So whatever your manifestation of is God, her work and how she was able to produce the magical and amazing results for herself and her clients all came from faith. And I truly believe that when our mind is filled with faith and trust in the universe and the divine order and timing of things, what we want to manifest will surely come through a lot easier and more seamless. So on the next episode, we're going to continue down this path of meditation or manifestation, because clarity is a big part of it. One of the rules of manifestation is you've got to get clear on things. So on the next episode, I'm going to talk about how do you get to clarity. So again, instead of just saying, clear your mind, stop thinking about this or that, get clear on what you want, we're going to talk about exactly how to get to clarity. Thank you so much for listening to this edition of Astrodology with Astrid. I thank you so very much, and I will be ready and looking forward to you to listen to the next episode as we continue this conversation about manifestation. As always, thank you so much for listening. Namaste. Thank you for listening to Astrodology. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to help support the podcast, please hit the subscribe button and tell your friends about it by sharing this program on social media. You can also follow me on Instagram at Coda Life Goddess or at codalife.com. Coda is C-O-T-A, Coda Life Goddess or codalife.com. Thank you again for listening to Astrodology, and I'll see you next time.